This city is meant to be yours, sweetheart. What are you gonna do to get it?
Trust me. It's just the beginning.
Well, I certainly wasn't expecting a show of this quality based on the Penguin of all characters. Don't get me wrong, Colin Farrell's small role in The Batman was a highlight, and his trajectory was set up nicely for future film appearances.
What the hell is this? Good cop, batshit cop?
It makes sense then that the plot for this show was originally conceived as the first act of the upcoming sequel, The Batman Part 2. But much like Andor before it, I don't think anyone was asking for a TV series based on this character.
You serious?
But like the aforementioned series, it manages to take a small character from an established franchise, infusing more depth into its central character, expanding the established universe in new and exciting ways while standing as its own thing. What you are left with is a show that you didn't know you wanted, but just might have turned out to be one of the best comic book TV shows ever made. Set approximately 1 week after the events of The Batman and Carmine Falcone's death at the hands of the Riddler, the series chronicles Oswald Oz Cobblepot's ambitious attempt to fill the power vacuum in Gotham's criminal underworld. What begins as an opportunistic grab for power evolves into a complex tale of loyalty, betrayal, and the cost of ambition. The story kicks into high gear when Oz guns down Alberto, Falcone's son, in the opening episode, setting off a chain of events that reverberates throughout the series. We see how Oz uses the chaos that ensues to his advantage as he begins to slowly take over Gotham's criminal empire from within. Colin Farrell's transformation into Oswald Cobblepot is nothing short of remarkable. Disappearing completely beneath the prosthetics, Farrell delivers a nuanced performance that makes Oz simultaneously sympathetic and deplorable. Only by Farrell's eyes and his characteristic charm and magnetic charisma can you tell it's really him underneath. His Penguin is a man who's been underestimated his entire life due to his physical disabilities, and he takes on a pathetic persona to disarm the people around him. But he's really been observing the key players from the shadows for years, and he uses his quick wit and ability to read people as his primary weapons of survival. The series delves deep into Oz's troubled past, revealing how a childhood marked by tragedy and manipulation shaped him into the complex figure he becomes. His relationship with his mother Frances serves as both his emotional anchor and a source of deep-seated trauma. Their scenes together reveal layers of guilt, obligation, and at times what appears to be genuine affection, complicated by Frances's declining mental state and her continued grief of the loss of her other sons. Unlike other stories which have attempted to humanize traditional villains or reinterpret them as anti-heroes, see Cruella for an example of that, this show does not shy away from showing Oz as a despicable person and a true villain. Something I must commend the show for having the balls to do. The penultimate episode's revelation about his brother's fate exposes the true extent of Oz's sociopathy, a trait that you realize manifested early on in his life. This disclosure recontextualizes his entire character arc, suggesting his current actions aren't just about survival or ambition, but part of a long-established pattern of manipulation and violence. Despite this darkness, Oz seems to have a genuine desire to be a man of the people, and his commitment to protecting those he sees as marginalized like himself adds compelling complexity to his character. He's also someone who aspires to be like his childhood idol, a local gangster in his neighborhood called Rex, who helped his community. Despite presumably also terrorizing his local community, Rex had a parade in his honor after he died. Oz desires to be remembered and respected like that as well. Oz recounts this to Alberto, Falcone's son, in the first episode, who laughs at his dream, calling him pathetic. This ultimately seals his fate and becomes the catalyst for all the events that take place for the rest of the series. In the beginning of the show, you really want Oz to succeed, as he truly is an underdog, and it appears he wants to lift up others alongside him who have also been overlooked or mistreated. But as the story progresses, We come to know that Oz is a man with no loyalty or morality to speak of at all, and will do absolutely anything to anyone when it comes to getting what he wants. But there is one character, more than the rest, who stands in the way of Oz fulfilling his ambitions. From the moment Sofia Falcone appears in the first episode, I was mesmerised by her. Krista Milioti gives a career-defining performance, simultaneously both nuanced and crazed, and sympathetic and villainous. Unlike other shows which have performed a bait and switch with a strong female character taking up the screen time away from the titular character you actually came to watch, Kenobi, her character is so well written and conceived that you're invested anytime she's on screen. So much so that she might actually be my favourite character of the entire show. Her tragic backstory begins with a profound betrayal by her own family. While most abandoned her to the corrupt system, her brother Alberto stood as her sole defender, making his death and Oz's deception and part in it particularly devastating to Sofia. After discovering her father's true nature, a plot thread that nicely ties in from the Batman, Sofia is thrown into Arkham, paying for the sins of her father under wrongful imprisonment. Sofia witnesses firsthand how Gotham's systematic corruption can strip away innocence, transforming her from a naive bystander into a ruthless force of vengeance. She perhaps becomes more like her father than she'd care to admit, even as she so desperately tries to break the cycle of violence and vengeance that has plagued her family. Her scenes with Oz are some of the best in the show, and their history reveals shifting power dynamics and past betrayal. As such, their scenes bristle and bubble with tension and anger. She continually draws Oz out, and in a particularly tense scene in the finale, has him confront his own mother in order to reveal his true self to her and admit what he has done to her sons and his own brothers, in an effort to exact her own personal revenge upon him. Unlike a typical victim narrative, Sofia's arc refuses to excuse her actions. She is undeniably a villain, but one with a complexity that makes her compelling, while maintaining a shred of humanity that distinguishes her from the complete psychopaths like Oz. She embraces her capacity for ruthless action. Her quest isn't simply about survival, but more about reclaiming a life stolen from her and dismantling the family system that betrayed her. And when she does deal with her family, you are aligned with her decision to do so and in the manner that she chooses, as you understand the depth of the betrayal that befell her. The show's bold approach allows us to simultaneously root for and be horrified by Sofia. Her journey becomes a powerful exploration of how systematic betrayal can forge a weapon out of pain, creating a character who is neither pure victim nor simple villain, but something far more complex and dangerous. One which is shaped and mangled by the corrupted systems of Gotham, tying into the larger narrative of the rotting city established by Matt Reeves in The Batman. Take note, Hollywood. This is how you write a strong female character. Speaking of writing, the series excels in its pacing and plot development, refusing to drag out revelations for artificial suspense. For example, upon Sofia's introduction in the very first episode, she knows immediately Oz is up to something and knows he is withholding information about her brother's sudden disappearance, immediately creating tension between these two from the off, which continues throughout the show. Character motivations remain clear and nuanced throughout the show, while plot twists push relationships into fascinating new territories. The psychological depth explored by showrunner Lauren LeFranc elevates The Penguin beyond typical comic book adaptations, placing it firmly in the company of prestigious crime dramas like Breaking Bad. As was the case with Breaking Bad, actions truly have consequences in this show. Character motivations are well defined, and the actions they take make sense based on what we know about them. This makes the show incredibly satisfying to watch, and they balance unpredictable and shocking moments with character actions that actually make sense within the truth of each character. It speaks volumes when the most riveting scenes in this show are the ones where two characters are simply talking. including a standout scene between Sophia and Oz's mother Frances, with shifting power dynamics and incredible tension, made all the more impressive as the two actresses had minimal preparation due to last-minute rescheduling. Clancy Brown delivers a memorable performance as Salvador Maroni, representing the old guard of Gotham's criminal elite. His character arc from a shaky allegiance with Oz to a bitter opponent of him effectively illustrates the changing of the guard in Gotham's underworld, as he too becomes an unwitting pawn in Oz's plan to seize power. Victor's journey from a disposable carjacker to Oz's trusted lieutenant stands as one of the series' most compelling character arcs. Their initial encounter seems destined to end tragically. Victor picks the worst night possible to steal a car, unknowingly interrupting Oz just after he's killed Falcone's son. The obvious play would be for Oz to eliminate this inconvenient witness once he's helped move the body. Instead, recognizing something of himself in Victor's stuttering disability, Oz makes an unexpected choice that changes both their lives. What begins as a reluctant partnership evolves into a complex mentor-protege type relationship. Under Oz's wing, Victor gradually sheds his timidity, finding his voice, confidence, and purpose within the criminal organization. His transformation is particularly striking when he makes his first kill to protect Oz's operation, a moment that marks his point of no return. The series skillfully portrays how Victor's remaining innocence is stripped away, first by the floods that claimed his family, then by his willing descent into Gotham's criminal underworld under Oz's influence. By the series' end, the formerly nervous carjacker has become an assured, capable lieutenant who commands respect in his own right and ultimately saves Oz's life at least twice. He maintains an unwavering loyalty to the man who saw potential in him where others saw only weakness. The show does a great job of delving into and exploring the psychological truth of these characters' lives, creating believable, well-rounded, complex characters that are never just one note. Particular attention has been made to past traumas and how those can influence the decisions of the present. Showrunner Lauren LaFranc must be commended for adding such nuance and depth to these characters and not treating them as lesser simply because their origins are derived from comic books. These psychological elements are not mere window dressing either. Oz's childhood with his mother, absent father and brothers, Sophia's betrayal at the hand of her father and family, Vic's tragic loss as a result of the flooding of his family home all inform and drive their motivations, conflicts, and decisions as the show plays out in a believable and satisfying way that feels true and honest to these versions of the characters. The Penguin proves that comic book television can achieve the depth and quality of prestige drama. It goes beyond the genre entirely, as The Dark Knight did before with superheroes on film. This does the same on TV, taking the characters seriously and enticing viewers outside of the genre due to its quality. That quality, particularly that of its writing, puts other TV shows in the genre to shame, especially when compared to Marvel's 5-year foray of largely disappointing and brand-damaging streaming shows full of character assassinations. This is how you take an established universe, expand it, give it depth, and set things up in a way that leaves people excited for more. It's rare, unfortunately, that a series manages to exceed expectations while expanding our understanding of a familiar character, especially one that in the past has been played for comic relief. I can highly recommend the show to anyone who loves a well-crafted crime thriller and who enjoys exploring the depths of grey areas of morality and justice, or just loves a well-written and well-crafted story. The Penguin stands tall as possibly the best comic book television series to date, successfully blending crime drama with character study. A heartbreaking finale makes you look back on the series as a whole through an entirely new lens. Oz truly is a villain. The series effectively establishes his character as a major threat in Gotham's criminal landscape, setting up fascinating possibilities and conflicts ahead of the Batman Part 2. Perhaps he will even be its primary antagonist. It's a real shame then that the next time we explore this world will be 2 years away, as the film has been delayed numerous times to 2026. But having said that, I for one cannot wait to see what's next. Just please don't be a Joker series. Oh, thank God. Please do give the video a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.